This project brings together 3 neighbouring properties owned by lifestyle farmers. The project is inspiring the owners to connect with local experts, to connect with local commercial farmers and to connect with each other.
Most landholders and farmers care for the natural environment and the land. They want the best outcomes for their natural areas as well as the best productivity outcomes for their land. But due to cost and time restraints, this is often a challenge. Often, the environmental outcomes come secondary to the productivity outcomes for the land.
Being involved in the Young Eco Champions program, I'm able to connect with landholders and other natural resource management professionals to work towards establishing the best management practices for landholders and their needs on their properties. By developing practical and realistic plans in consultation with a range of stakeholders, we aim to work towards achieving the best outcomes for the environment as well as the landholder. Here in the Illawarra, much of our vegetation has become fragmented and is isolated. Clearing activities over time, from the early years of the red cedar loggers throughout the 1800s, and then for the agricultural industry, high conservation value vegetation, such as our rainforest and woodland, is now in many areas of our region restricted to the escarpments and steep foothill areas, which were in the past deemed unproductive due to their inaccessibility to farmers or exists in small isolated patches across the landscape. Much of the remnants have become weed infested due to the disturbance and also due to the bird drop and windblown seed from surrounding weed infested areas.
The Illawarra is a booming urban area, so there's great threat on those small patches of vegetation that are left across the landscape. We think those areas are very important in terms of maintaining species diversity. We have some really nice patches of vegetation and of a range of types throughout the area, but they're fractured, they're fragmented, they have no connection between each other.
Plants just can't get up and walk to interbreed with their next closest neighbours. That's why when we're doing revegetation we try to link patches to connect up the populations, but thereafter it's all of those birds, the bats, the animals that use those corridors as well, and they further help disperse the seeds.
Escarpment to Sea is about assisting landholders to try to improve and maintain those good patches of vegetation that they have on their properties, and then to assist in linking them together by revegetation works so that we have a network of corridors between the escarpment and the sea.
Our region boasts some of the best prime agricultural real estate in the country, and I'm really passionate about seeing this industry supported into the future and working together to get the best outcomes for our natural environment as well as these land carers. Because really, farmers are the carers of over 60% of Australia's land mass and are the producers of our food and fibre for the future.
Fortunately, many landholders in our region realise the value in preserving and attempting to rehabilitate natural areas. Benefits to water quality and shelter for cattle are important issues to farmers, and eliminating threats of noxious, weeds of national significance and other environmental weeds from the landscape are also a concern. Sometimes landholders just need a little bit of assistance and guidance. This farm is in prime coastal dairy country in Jamberoo, New South Wales. Here, the rainfall is high, soil fertility is good, and the climate is great almost year round. This means perfect conditions for weeds to thrive. Our project will be looking to rehabilitate 2 island remnants of rainforest vegetation, which sits in open grazing paddock. Although the vegetation is isolated, it is important shelter for cattle and will also provide refuge for native wildlife travelling through nearby intact vegetation corridors. At present, the landholder has attempted to control lantana and wild tobacco through slashing and then piling debris within the vegetation, hoping for it to mulch down. Unfortunately, this is suppressing any natural regeneration from occurring and opening up the vegetation edges to further weed infestation due to the high level of disturbance. Secondary weeds such as Cape ivy, bidens and mistflower are also now present and add to the difficulty in managing the vegetation. Although there is a high level of degradation, there is still some good stuff in there too. To help achieve best outcomes for the farmer and the native vegetation, we have engaged a professional bush regenerator. Together we have developed a strategy for rehabilitating the remnants, and we will be working in partnership with Landcare Illawarra to source appropriate tube stock for planting projects once the weeds are removed and we can establish where any natural regeneration is occurring.
I'm excited to be having discussions with the landholders and to be able to negotiate some behavioural changes and some control techniques for the land. but also to be able to get the best productivity outcomes for the landscape, but also not impact on the natural areas, as well as the bush regeneration activities that will be occurring at this site.